What's going on, HPP fam? Welcome back to another episode. My name's JD and we're at High PSI Performance. We are getting after a whole nother week's worth of work. Hopefully this week we will get Alfonso's body dropped back on to the engine, torque tube, and trans. I do have to call him because he does have another trans, and I wanted to ask him if he wants to swap it before we put it back together. We are still working on our overheat Corvette. The S10 is going to be getting some changes soon, and then we'll be taking it back out to the track. And Juan's S550 Mustang will be coming in this week to get its motor installed. As you can see, we've got the motor pretty much all back together on the stand, and that whine you heard was Nala, the shop dog. It's just chilling. The USS Hemi, which you guys seen us start on last week, Gio had tore it down, inspected everything. We found a bunch of things wrong, to include a head that was not torqued down and a valve spring that was broken. We've got those issues resolved, and Gio is now currently working on putting the air suspension on and changing a bunch of components that the customer supplied, like new wheel bearings and lower control arm, upper control arm, tie rods, inner and outer. All that stuff is being replaced in the front end. And we have a rear hub assembly being replaced as well too. So that's what we got kicking around. Let's see where this week takes us. As we move forward with our week, as you can see, we've got our C6 off the dyno. That car finished out at 478 horsepower. I want to say 400, I don't remember the torque. And then now we've got this 2008 Chevy Silverado on the dyno. That's in for a tune. Trans has just been rebuilt, so they want the trans tuned on this one. And we're just going over the engine tune, which the short-term field trims were way off on this thing at an idle from wherever shop tuned it before, so we're going to get those addressed and see if we can make a little bit more power out of this thing. It's just an intake cam long tube. That's it. And our first pull, 285 horsepower, 303 foot-pounds of torque. So let's see if we can't improve upon that a little bit and make sure the tranny lives in this one. Gio has been diligently working on getting our airlift installed on this car. So as you can see, he's getting the bags put in now. And then we'll be plumbing our air lines this afternoon and then finishing this thing with management tomorrow. Ta-da! Woo, woo, woo. Juan's Mustang engine is back in the car and 100% back together. We just put oil and coolant in it. So this thing is about to get its first fire up and heat cycle. It's early, it's a Friday, and let me get you guys up to speed on what's been going on, because I haven't done a very good job of picking up the camera this week. Gio and I have been busy trying to get caught up and get things out of here that have kind of been here for a little bit longer than I like. You know, I try not to keep cars too long. Get them in, get them out, keep you guys happy. So let me get you up to speed. As you can see, Juan's car is 100% back together. And I think the last thing y'all seen, or one of the last things y'all seen, was we were about to fire it up. And we did. We did fire it up. However, there was a problem. We replaced all the timing chains, or excuse me, the timing tensioners. This is the timing tensioner plunger doodad that goes between the cams. So you have a single chain on both sides that it ties the intake and the exhaust cam together. And this oil pressure pushes this plunger up to keep the chains tight. We replaced this with all the Boss 302 stuff. So all 4 of the tensioners on this motor were replaced with the upgraded Boss 302 ones. However, when you pull that pin, you do have to depress and unlatch to get those to pop up and create tension. I'm not ashamed when I get schooled or learn something. And even after you pull this, we have 2 sets. Ford actually sent us 4 of these instead of 2 of these and 2 of the other tensioners, so that's why I have extras. But when you pull this, it does not just pop up. The plunger does not pop up. There's a detent that has to get pressed down, and then they will pop up. I did not do that. I thought oil pressure would pop them up, and they did not. So put the whole car back together, fired it up. I didn't turn the camera on. There was a slight ticking noise in the top of the motor. So yesterday afternoon, I had Gio pop this valve cover. I noticed the plunger was not up. I figured out how to get the plunger to release and learn something new. So first thing this morning when Gio gets in, he will pop this other side valve cover. We'll get that one taken care of, and then I'll let you guys hear the second of the first fire ups for Juan's Mustang. But we should have this one all wrapped up today. I'll drive it this afternoon, and then we will give it back on Monday. So that'll be exciting. Juan will get his 2015 Mustang GT back. Now, on to our overheating C6. It was also eating a belt, so I've only driven this car twice, and the supercharger belt was dissipating. I've actually got the belt off right now. Gotta get a new belt for it. But I did some looking. I grabbed my laser, and I put it on the pulleys, shot it down to check to make sure we had a belt that was centered and none of the pulleys are offset left to right, whatever the case may be. Come to find out, the balancer is about 1 whole rib off, inward. As some of you guys may or may not know, the C5s and the C6 do have a problem with the balancers. So with that being said, talk to the customer. We're going to put an ATI dampener on it, which is going to be better for this engine long term with the blower. So that's our solution to our C6. As for the overheating thing, we're still diving into that a little bit, but overall I don't think there's anything actually wrong. It's just hot. It was. It's not now. Stupid hot in Texas. This car has upgraded radiator, upgraded fans, upgraded fan control modules. I put a thermostat in it because it did not have one. The only thing I could do is drain it and put regular Dexcool back in the car. It's got, I think, some mixture of some other stuff and water wetter. We just put back in it. That's what we took out of it when we did the thermostat, but we may change that. But other than that, as long as it's not 110 outside and you're running the AC full blast. Oh, I did this little hood mod too. See if I can get in a little closer on that. There we go. But anyways, spaces the hood up, lets a little bit of the airflow come out. I think it looks aggressive, but in attempts to help with the cooling. So really, until we get the ATI balancer and we get the belt living on there, we can't do any more diag. Moving forward, Alfonso's car. We were I'll pick this up here in a second. So as you guys can hear, I know I cut it off. I was about to talk about the Corvette, but I came back over to Juan's Mustang. But as you can hear, it is nice and quiet, purring like a kitten. No more tiki sounds. My suspicion was right, which I already knew because of the passenger side we did yesterday, but we just did the driver's side and got that one working, and now purring like a kitten. So we're gonna go ahead and let this new motor warm up, get to operating temp for the first time. Exciting, exciting. So I know you guys just witnessed the pull on the old SS Hemi, which this vehicle is coming right along and is almost wrapped up. I don't have dyno numbers to show you guys because the dyno's been acting a little bit wonky, but the tune's pretty much all wrapped up. Plus we had a storm. It's sunny now, but it was raining, thank God, pretty heavily not too long ago. But in other exciting news, whoop-bam! Alfonso's car is going back together. The twin turbo C5 is making its way back together. So we finally got the torque tube and the engine and the rear cradle, whoop, all back up and off of the stand. So now we can go through, we will get our suspension and all of our brakes put back on and situated, and then we will attack our engine and finish the twin turbo setup on this. In the meantime, we got another Corvette on the other lift. Gio is working on taking the steering rack out of this one. I don't know if you remember this car last year. We did a DX Fuel flex fuel kit on this car. We changed the intake manifold and we tuned it. This was the one that came from another shop in another state that they had, I'm gonna politely say his intake manifold, and then ship the car out. We'll just leave it like that. So we ended up having an LS3 intake in shop, intake manifold, and we put that on the car and we got this thing tuned out. But it is back. The balancer bolt has seemed to have backed out of this one, so just more leavings of the previous shop that worked on it. But we're gonna get a new balancer put on this probably. We gotta pull the rack to check the damage. Once we see what's actually wrong, we'll make a judgment call on what needs to be fixed. So guys, that's gonna wrap up this week's episode. We will get final numbers on our USS Hemi on Monday once the dyno computer is done updating. But I'm gonna let that run over the weekend. Alfonso's is one step closer. We've got our ATI balancer on the way for our C6. I'm pretty positive I picked out a wrap for the S10. And then we are blowing apart the C6, trying to get that steering rack out. So whoever put that car together last time put lines in the wrong place and stuff was just a mess. So we're having to take a little bit more of the car apart than we really wanted to. But we're gonna get this, and the power steering rack, one of the lines is kind of stripped. So it's making it difficult to get it out of the way to get at the balancer, but we'll have that knocked out, or at least taken apart so we can assess the damage first thing Monday. But that's gonna do it for this week's episode, guys. Hope you enjoyed the content. Like, share, subscribe. We'll see you on the next episode. Peace.